There are many myths and misconceptions surrounding ADHD, and unfortunately there's also a lot of stigma surrounding ADHD and families of children with ADHD. This is actually not true. The DSM-5, they've added to the diagnostic criteria of ADHD that it does in fact continue into adulthood for many individuals. In fact, up to 60% of individuals who are diagnosed with ADHD in childhood continue to experience those symptoms throughout adulthood. So it is in fact a lifelong disorder. As individuals go through adolescence and transition into adulthood, this can be extremely challenging. Very often, children with ADHD are described as being the naughty child. They are often labeled or made the scapegoat because of their behaviors of inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. However, it's important to keep in mind that children with ADHD, it's not that they don't want to follow the rules, or they don't want to listen, or they don't want to behave in class. It's often that they do not have as much control over their impulses or behaviors or their ability to listen and sustain attention as other children their age. Therefore, it's very important that teachers and parents and other adults keep this in mind when interacting with children with ADHD, and be mindful of their ADHD characteristics, and rather learn ways to support these children and bring out their positive attributes. It's incredibly important that teachers, especially in the foundation phase, have a clear understanding and deep-rooted knowledge into what ADHD is and how best to support learners with ADHD within the classroom. ADHD is a developmental neurobiological condition characterized by impulsivity, hyperactivity, and inattention. So individuals who have difficulty regulating their impulses, managing their activities, or sustaining their attention over various social contexts are described as presenting with ADHD. ADHD is also multifaceted, with genetic factors accounting for a predisposition to the disorder. It is important to realize that mere naughtiness or not doing well at school cannot result in a diagnosis of ADHD. As we've already discussed, ADHD is a developmental neurobiological condition. It does not result from bad parenting. However, as we said, there is a genetic component to ADHD, and often parents of children with ADHD have ADHD symptoms themselves, and this does cause often for a stressful or tense parent-child relationship. ADHD is not caused by bad parenting. In fact, parents of children with ADHD have been found to be extremely stressed. They also need intervention and support to maintain their own well-being. So it's also that there's more awareness around ADHD. Educators and parents are more informed about ADHD. It's also interesting to note that many parents of children with ADHD are diagnosed with ADHD themselves during the diagnosis process for their child. Many parents reflect on their childhood during this process and realize that they probably had ADHD during their childhood, and they were just labeled the naughty child. They were not given support. It's also important to realize that ADHD is underdiagnosed in some areas. If we look at South Africa, there's a very small portion of children who are given the opportunity to go through the diagnosis procedure, whose families are aware of ADHD and its implications for development and their child's progress at school and in other areas of their lives. There are many children who go undiagnosed, and I'm referring specifically to the South African context, where there aren't medical professionals or professionals with expertise in ADHD in their area. The teachers aren't aware of ADHD, and those children are not receiving the support that they need. However, there are individuals in South Africa who are trying to make a change in this area, and if you go onto my website, ADHD Insight, and you look under organizations, you can see some of these organizations that are trying to make an impact in this area. We as a community need to be more understanding and more empathetic and show support to parents and colleagues and children because you never know, they might be going through something incredibly difficult, they might be going through a diagnosis process, or the parents themselves may be struggling with ADHD characteristics. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.